Chapter 51. Two Worlds, Upright People. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Ling Jiao, why is he in there? The important guest Chief Wang mentioned is Ling Jiao. You gotta be kidding. Looking at Ling Jiao inside the room, everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. The important guest Uncle Wang's talked out. It turned out to be him. Ai Jiacheng's face turned pale. He did not expect that the important guest Uncle Wang wanted to meet was Ling Jiao. One was just an ordinary arcanist. Another was the chief of the base city military district. They were clearly people from two different worlds. How did they get involved together? He couldn't understand it. His classmates were even more confounded. Ling Jiao is actually the guest of Chief. We had ridiculed him like that earlier. If he holds a grudge, how are we to survive in the base city? A few of the girls who had ridiculed Ling Jiao earlier had an ashen look on their faces. Hold a grudge against you lot? You gotta be joking. Li Kai snorted. In Ling's eyes, you lot are just a bunch of buzzing flies. To be calculative to flies. He's not that mean. I'll tell you the truth. Ling is already a level 4 arcanist. The gap between you and him is like the ants on the ground, and the dragons in the heavens. You are nothing in his eyes. Hold a grudge. What are you even thinking of? What? A level 4 arcanist. Hearing this, everyone could not help but gasp as their eyes were filled with shock. Wu Na exclaimed. Li Kai, you're joking, right? How long has it been since Ling Jiao's awakening? Yeah, you two had only awakened your arcana in May, and it's only been 7 months now. How could Ling Jiao become a level 4 arcanist in such a short period of time? The freckled girl muttered. Do you think I'm bullsh***? Ting? Li Kai sniggered as he took out his microcomputer and logged into the company's official website, pulling out Ling Jiao's personal information and showed it to everyone. Open your eyes and take a good look. Li Kai snorted coldly. Ling Jiao is really a level 4 arcanist. Looking at Ling Jiao's personal information, both Wu Na and the freckled girl went silent. All of the classmates also fell silent. Ling Jiao is really a level 4 arcanist. Even the class monitor, Su Gang's, voice trembled a little. There aren't that many level 4 arcanists in Lantian Base City, right? You think? Li Kai felt triumphant as if he was a level 4 arcanist himself. With Ling's current strength and the talents he demonstrated, he will either become a top echelon of the company or join the HQ for further training. In any case, Ling's future is bright, with an 80% chance of him being a high-level arcanist, and a 40% chance to become an elite arcanist. He and us are destined to people of two different worlds, and you lot dared to ridicule him. Who gave you lot that courage, I wonder? A high-level arcanist. An elite arcanist. Everyone had mixed feelings. If they knew that Ling Jiao was such an outstanding person, they would have tried to foster good relationship with him earlier. After all, they had been classmates for 3 years, and they do have the chance. Just like Li Kai. Since he had a good relationship with Ling Jiao, the two of them often talked to each other and ate together. Li Kai too often posted pictures of the two eating together in the group chat. They believed that as long as Li Kai maintained this simple classmate relationship, and even a slight help from Ling Jiao was enough to benefit Li Kai for life. Many of the prettier girls were extremely regretful. There was a saying that it was easier for a girl to chase after a guy. They had a natural advantage, and if only they were a little more proactive back then. At this moment, everyone's emotions were so mixed that they no longer had the mood to eat. And even the dazzling Wu Na felt empty inside as her rich boyfriend did not look all that fanciful anymore. No matter how great his family was, he was only an ordinary arcanist. While Ling Jiao may not have the family background, his future was limitless. Sigh. Why didn't I notice the gold nugget in Ling Jiao before? Wu Na was bitter inside. Yet she did not know that her boyfriend had different thoughts. A level 4 arcanist at just 16, and had awakened his arcana for only 7 months. This condition is fully in line with the requirements for Pangu's super training camp, and once he comes out of it. A level 6 arcanist. AI Jiacheng shuddered. Although the AI family was big and powerful and was one of the famous arcanist families in the Northwest, there were scarcely any level 6 arcanists. I totally did not expect such a person to appear in Lantian Base City. I've screwed up just now. No, I have to foster a good relationship with him. Even if I can't be friends, I cannot afford to make an enemy out of him. AI Jiacheng was not just a rich person who only knows to show off and sleep around with girls. He was a thoughtful person, and there was a saying that many friends equates many roads. This was his way of life. Thinking of this, AI Jiacheng pulled away from his girlfriend, Wu Na's hands, and walked towards the private room Ling Jiao and Wang Chao were at. Jiacheng, what are you doing? Wu Na asked quickly. Going and meet that classmate of yours. AI Jiacheng smiled and walked into the room. Brother Ling, the beast tied this time is really all thanks to you. Let's cut to the chase, cheers. After downing several glasses of alcohol, Wang Chao's face became reddish. I'm a straightforward person, so I won't beat around the bush with you. The reason I'm treating you for dinner is 1, to thank you, and 2, to invite you to join the military district. Join the military district. Ling Jiao was surprised. That's right. Wang Chao said bluntly. Brother Ling, you may not know, while the arcanists of the arcana organizations are also hunting the dire beasts, and contributing to mankind, but they are often very utilitarian, and would not obey orders and dispatches. Let's take this beast tide for example. You know the danger of the bloodgorger bat, and to kill it we have issued a special notice, hoping to get the help of the arcanists. And the result was. There are nearly 2,000 arcanists in the entire Lantian Base City, and only you, Brother Ling, who were willing to help us kill the bloodgorger bat. To be honest, I was very disappointed. Wang Chao sighed. Even the lowest level of those in charge of the arcana organizations are all level 4 or 5 arcanists. As long as they were willing to help, holding back the bloodgorger bat would be totally possible, but sadly, there was no one. Why? What else but cowardice? Of course, it is natural to be afraid of death, and we cannot force them. After all of them were big shots worth tens of billions, what a shame if they died. Ling Jiao smiled bitterly. Sigh. If all arcanists were to accept a unified command, with strict adherence to orders and prohibitions, the elimination of dire beasts won't even be a problem. Chapter 52. Special Operations, 2 teams. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the face of Wang Chao's words, Ling Jiao did not know how to continue, but there was no denying that what the former said was the truth. While the Arcana Combines were arcana organizations, but they were still commercial companies after all, and all commercial companies were profit-driven. For the purpose of earning money, many arcanists were extremely utilitarian, which was a point that the military could not contend with. The military was strictly managed, with orders and prohibitions going from top to bottom, and even an arcanist must absolutely obey orders. Every time a beast tide strikes, the army and the military arcanists were always on the front lines, bleeding and sacrificing their lives as needed. It could be said that the nature of both sides had completely determined the standard by which they operated. It was impossible to determine who was right or wrong because everyone's pursuit was different. Ling Jiao was willing to hunt down dire beasts and contribute his strength to humanity, but he also enjoyed a free life. Therefore, he could only refuse Wang Chao's good intentions. In the next few days, Ling Jiao stayed at home and trained. During the day, he practiced the manipulation of his arcana, while at night, he practiced using the Sea of 100 Rivers. Every day was passed fruitfully. And his strength steadily improved. In a blink of an eye, more than 20 days had passed. On the morning of the 28th of December, Ling Jiao received a call from Luo Jia and rushed to the office. Ling Jiao, I've already sent the report for the super training camp up. You've passed the first round of selection, so I'll congratulate you first. Thank you, Miss Luo. Ling Jiao was very grateful. Still with the pleasantries. Luo Jia smiled. There's another reason that I contacted you today. Miss Luo, go ahead. It's like this. The safe passage between Lantian Base City and Hanzhong Base City was attacked by the dire beasts, causing the safe passage to be interrupted BVEC, so the government decided to destroy the dire beasts and restore the safe passage. Luo Jia explained. According to the reliable information we have, the number of dire beasts attacking the safe passage is massive. It is initially estimated to be about 30,000, with many of the 4th or 5th order dire beasts. So, reopening the safe passage will be difficult, and the two base cities had decided on a joint operation. Ling Jiao frowned. Although the dire beasts rampaged across the wilderness, many base cities kept in touch through safe passages for the circulation of goods. The safe passages were man-made rail lines. Through the safe passages, the base cities could communicate with one another, and send and receive goods. Thus, the safe passage was very important. Should a safe passage comes under attack by the dire beasts, or if dire beasts had taken over the place, then they must be eliminated immediately and restoring the safe passage. This operation is jointly led by both base cities, and so each base city needs to deploy 200 arcanists, and Pangu will need to dispatch 10 arcanists. Luo Jia continued. I personally decided to appoint you as the interim captain of the Pangu teams, and lead 10 of our employees for this mission. Any opinions? No, Ling Jiao agreed without even thinking about it. He was bored out of his wits staying at home for more than 20 days, and he had long wanted to go to the wilderness. After all, he had promised Dad, so he felt bad leaving, but now he had a reason to leave. Very good. Luo Jia was very pleased with Ling Jiao's reply, and then pulled out a list of personnel. This is the list of personnel that will participate in this operation. Have a look first, I'll take you to get to know them later. You'll leave with the team tomorrow morning. Ling Jiao took the list and saw 2 wilderness teams on it. The Wind Chaser Squad and the T.Rex Squad. Wind Chaser Squad. Captain. Chen Feng, 35 years old, Wind Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 1. Zhang Yuan, 33 years old. Metal Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 2. Meng Lijun, 39 years old, Tungsten Form, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 3. Fan Cheng, 31 years old, Fire Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 4. Bai Yu, 29 years old, Earth Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Tungsten Form. Ling Jiao's eyes fell on team member number 2, Meng Lijun, and asked. Miss Luo, what's this tungsten form arcana? The tungsten form is a very powerful arcana. It is not a metal manipulation type arcana, but instead a body morphing type arcana. When morphed, Meng Lijun can transform his body tissue into an alloy material that is extremely hard, the tungsten alloy. Luo Jia explained. After morphing into tungsten form, Meng Lijun not only will get an increase of over dozen times in strength but also have a very potent defensive power. What a terrifying arcana! Ling Jiao licked his lips. This arcana is really freakish. Luo Jia sighed. He is now a level 3 arcanist. Once he morphed into his tungsten form, he can exert 30 times the power under normal conditions. His defense is even more invincible. At the same level, no one can hurt him, not even dire beasts. What a great arcana! Ling Jiao's eyes lit up. In terms of melee, Meng Lijun is an invincible existence against beings of the same level. Unfortunately, his progress is just too slow, and he is already 39 years old this year, and only a level 3 arcanist. So he will probably top out at level 4 in this lifetime, his potential extremely average. Luo Jia sighed again. If he had the rapid progress like yours, his future potential would simply be unimaginable. What do you mean? Theoretically, as long as Meng Lijun becomes a level 9 Arcanist, he will be able to unleash 10,000 times the power, and is no inferior to the founder of Pangu. What a pity. Ling Jiu said slowly. It is. Ling Jiu continued to browse. T.Rex Squad. Captain. Huang Hailong, 34 years old, Tyranno, Form, Level 3 Arcanist Team Member 1. Shi Hao, 31 years old, Rock Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 2. Zhou Dun, 37 years old, Plant Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 3. Yang Jiong, Thunder and Lightning Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Team Member 4. Yang Tong, 32 years old, Thunder and Lightning Manipulation, Level 3 Arcanist. Yang Jiong and Yang Tong are the two twins. Ling Jiu was surprised. You're right, they are twin brothers. Luo Jia nodded. All right. Have you finished reading? If you are, we can head over right now. Let's go. The two got up, and led by Luo Jia, they headed to the place the Windchaser and T.Rex squad was gathered. Along the way, Luo Jia reminded. The Windchaser and the T.Rex squad are the company's most elite wilderness teams, each member is an experienced wild hunter. They are old coots, so they are naturally a little unruly. If you want to convince them, you need to show your strength to awe them, or else leading them will be a pain. Understood. When he arrived at the training room on the 3rd floor, Ling Jiu saw the two squads. Hello, Miss Luo. The members of both squads bowed and greeted Luo Jia. She was the head honcho of the branch and was also a level 5 Arcanist, they dared not show her any disrespect. Hello, everyone. Luo Jia nodded slightly. I think you are all clear about tomorrow's operation, so I won't repeat it here. What I want to say now is that I've found a team leader for this operation, and I hope you lot can obey orders. Captain Ling, give them a few words. Luo Jia looked at Ling Jiu. Russell. Russell. The two squads looked at Ling Jiu at the same time, and all of them could not help but to show a surprised, doubtful, provoked, disdainful, and unhappy look in their eyes. He's our captain. Miss Luo, you are not pulling our legs, right? Chapter 53. Body. Morphing Arcana, Tungsten Alloy Form. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They have already been briefed about the operation, and also knew that the company was sending them a captain. They were even talking about it just now and were a little anticipant. This operation was not simple, and the company will definitely send a high-level Arcanist, perhaps even a level 4-1. Then they can ask a thing or two, or even foster a good relationship. It turned out too good to be true. The level 4 Arcanist was nowhere in sight, but instead, a punk came in his place. How could they take it? Miss Luo, this joke has gone too far. Before Ling Jiu even spoke, the squad leader of the T.Rex squad spoke. This operation between two base cities, and more than 400 Arcanists working together. Moreover, we are going into the Qin Mountains, and the Daba Mountains, the dangers there are unimaginable, and you are letting a little punk be our captain. Danger aside, if the other companies find out that the captain leading the Pangu squads is a punk, won't we be laughed our way out? Miss Luo, you should change him with someone else. If the company really cannot spare the manpower, then we don't need a captain. In any case, our two squads are more than enough. Yeah, Miss Luo. The team members all spoke one after another. Arcanists' respected strength and age represented strength to a certain extent. Ling Jiu looked like he had not even had hair down there, what sort of strength such a kid could have. Luo Jia frowned and was a little unhappy as Ling Jiu faintly said, a group of oil farts, all of you are not all that strong, but your tempers sure are. Kid, what did you say? Huang Hailong widened his eyes as he glared at Ling Jiu. The other members also stared at Ling Jiu angrily, their expression sour. Let's cut the nonsense, all of you can take me on at once. Ling Jiu walked to the center of the training room. Let me see if your strength is as strong as the words coming out of your mouth. Huang Hailong was stunned. All of the other members were also stunned. Taking on all of them all at once. Did he want to fight solo against 2 squads? F***ck. Upon realizing that, the members of both squads blew their fuses. Arrogant. Insolent. Way over your head. Boy, you are way too arrogant. Huang Hailong looked at Luo Jiao. Miss Luo, the kid you brought here lacks discipline, so get him to apologize to us immediately, or otherwise, I don't mind disciplining him for his parents. Discipline him. Up to you lot. Luo Jia said impatiently. I've brought you guys your captain, whether you recognize him or not is none of my business. Alright, I have work to do, so you guys continue talking. After that, Luo Jia nodded to Ling Jiu, and then left the training room, not forgetting to close the door of the training room as she left. There was no need to watch what would happen next, as the results were already set in stone. Boy, apologize to us this once. Seeing Luo Jia leave, the members of both squads were relieved. They then looked at Ling Jiu all at once, with a look of ridicule and displeasure in their eyes. Apologize. Sure. Ling Jiu hooked his finger. If you can beat me, forget apologize, I will even kneel and kowtow. What an impudent punk. You're too bloody arrogant, oh my temper's boiling. Who will teach him a lesson? Huang Hailong looked at everyone. Me. Zhang Yuan stood up. Boy, I've never met anyone as arrogant as you. As soon as his voice trailed off, Zhang Yuan grabbed at the void, and a shot put in the training room flew up, and blasted out like a cannonball out of the barrel at Ling Jiu. The weight of the shot put was amazing, and under Zhang Yuan's control, its speed was terrifying. If it was to strike someone on the body, it can definitely kill that person. Child's play. Ling Jiu showed a look of disdain, and no one saw what he did as the shot put flying at him suddenly veered towards the ground and slammed straight into the rubber mat floor, letting out a muffled bang, and stopped moving. Everyone let out a soft whisper of confusion. Although Zhang Yuan did not use his full strength, the high-speed shot put was not that easy to catch. Yet the punk before him did not do anything and had changed the trajectory of the shot. What arcana was that? Metal manipulation. Gravity manipulation or air manipulation. Punk, you do have some tricks up your sleeves. I did underestimate you somewhat. Zhang Yuan narrowed his eyes and grabbed the void with both hands as 7 or 8 alloy spears flew up into the sky and shot at Ling Jiu like bolts of lightning. Just this. Seems like I had expected a little too much from you lot. Forget it, let's end this boring farce. Ling Jiu shook his head slightly, and as a thought flashed past his mind, a terrifying gravitational force suddenly enveloped the entire training room. Bam! Everyone, including Zhang Yuan, suddenly felt a terrible pressure upon their bodies as if Mount Olympus was pressing upon them. Their bodies were bent, and the bones in their bodies made a crackling sound. Gravity. What terrifying gravity! His arcana is gravity manipulation. All of the squad members were shocked. It was not like they have not seen a gravity manipulation type arcanist, but the current gravitational force is just too terrifying. They felt dizzy and found it difficult to breathe as they were unable to even straighten their bodies. Even movements became extremely difficult, let alone fighting. Activate. Suddenly a roar rang out, as a person grew inches by inches, and in the blink of an eye, he grew into a 2-meter tall being that looked a robot made out of alloy. OL, Meng. The squad members were shocked and all looked at the robot at the same time. That person was a member of the Windchaser squad, Meng Lijun. Boy, I'll take you down. Meng Lijun roared and then charged in a fury towards Ling Jiao against the terrifying 8 times the gravitational force. Bomb! Ba-am! Ba-am! His feet stomped on the floor, and the ground trembled. Soon, he was upon Ling Jiao as he raised his fist and blasted it out. TSK. As expected of the arcana I desire. Ling Jiao sighed inwardly, and at the moment Meng Lijun's fist struck, he controlled his osmium soil to meet the attack. Bam! The fist collided with the osmium soil and a loud bang rang out. Before Meng Lijun could even throw out a second punch, a large amount of osmium soil fell upon and wrapped around him. Sand-binding coffin. Meng Lijun struggled frantically, but under the pressure of the 8 times gravity, his movements came more and more difficult, let alone resisting the binding of the osmium soil. In the end, Meng Lijun was completely buried by the osmium soil and transformed into a small hill, with only his head sticking out. Meng Lijun struggled and struggled, but he could not break free. The osmium soil was just too heavy. Save your breath. Ling Jiao looked at Meng Lijun. 8 times gravity alongside osmium soil 20 times heavier than sand, even if you are Sun Wukong you'll never break free. Meng Lijun looked flustered and finally gave up. I admit defeat. How about the rest? I give up. We admit defeat. Captain, please remove the gravity, I'm almost at my limit. Chapter 54. All gathered, Operation Commence. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The battle had ended just as it barely even started. With only 8 times the gravity was enough to suppress both the Windchaser and T.Rex squad to the point of immobility, let alone fight. Convinced now? Yeah. Absolutely. Very good. Ling Jiao nodded with satisfaction. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ling Jiao, and I'm 16 years old with dual arcana, earth manipulation and gravity manipulation. Current level, level 4. 16 years old. Level 4 Arcanist. The reactions of all of the squad members were very animated. Although it was obvious that Ling Jiao was very young, they never expected him to only be 16 years old. 16 years old. The youngest among them was already 31 years old and was exactly twice Ling Jiao's age. In the end, all of them thoroughly lost to Ling Jiao. What were they doing? However, a 16-year-old level 4 arcanist did indeed shock them. Ling Jiao was a veritable genius, and his future achievements were far beyond comparison to the likes of them. Captain, you're too strong. One word. Awesome, you're Ling Jiao. I've heard that our company had recruited a twin, arcana genius, could that person be you? After a brief shock, all of the squad members came together to either compliment or to voice their admiration. They had totally shed their previous unruliness and disdain as they were fully convinced now. Ling Jiao chatted with them for a bit, and after getting to know one another, he said this before he left. Oh right, I still prefer you guys with unruliness at first, try to get that back. Early next morning, Ling Jiao arrived at the company early, and then went to the city hall with his squad members where they will rendezvous with other arcanists. OL Chen, long time no see. I see you've gotten much rounder now, where did you strike gold recently? After arriving at the city hall, the arcanists from other companies arrived one after another as they got together and chatted. The time was 10 o'clock, and all 200 arcanists had arrived. The government leaders and senior company officials then made a simple speech. As we all know, our Lantian base city relies upon Hanzhong base city for much of our supplies, and now that the logistics are interrupted, it will seriously threaten the survival of the 5 million people in our base city. It is utmost urgent for us to restore the safe passage, and I ask of you to clear the dire beasts from the safe passage so that we can resume the supply lines. The leaders spoke one after another, and the crowd began to board their respective vehicles. This time, it was in a maglev airship. The maglev airship was like a giant football as it stood quietly in the square. There were more than 200 seats lined up neatly, and the small table in front of the seats was filled with fruits and drinks. 10 minutes later, the maglev airship took off and activated stealth mode as it disappeared over the city hall. Sitting next to Ling Jiu was the captain of the Wind Chaser squad, Chen Feng, and the captain of T.Rex squad, Huang Hailong, and the two were chatting away. "Pa, the feeling of riding a maglev airship sure is different. I can't even feel any shaking. If I have the money, I'll also buy one for myself." "Heh, dream on." Huang Hailong spat. "This Tempest H9 maglev airship is worth 3.6 billion. With your earning speed, you'll probably have no hope of earning that amount in this lifetime." "Oh, Huang, shut up." Listening to the two old men poking fun at each other, Ling Jiu felt somewhat interested. He had to say, sitting on a maglev airship did indeed feels very different. He could not feel any trace of wind, nor any noise, nor any vibrations, as if he was sitting stably on the ground. Ling Jiu had to admit that he was also tempted. The maglev airship purchased by the city hall was mainly used to transport government personnel, so the interior layout was like an airplane. Too many seats. So the space was relatively small. If it was a private airship, then he could customize it according to his needs, and make it like a house, with a bedroom, living room, toilet, training room. Imagine that. Hunting dire beasts during the day. Resting in the airship at night. What was the difference between the wilderness and staying at his own home then? If I have spare cash, I can probably buy one to play around with. Ling Jiu thought to himself. Everyone. At the moment, the operation coordinator, Su Yuanhui, walked to the small podium at the front of the airship. The big screen behind him had been lowered, showing the scene of the wilderness. "Before the operation begins, let me brief you on the main tasks of our operation." Su Yuanhui held a baton and pointed toward the big screen. "The safe passage between Lantian and Hanzhong is 418 kilometers long." Everyone listened quietly. "We need to pass through the Qin Mountains and Daba Mountains along the way. As we all know, the Qin Mountains and Daba Mountains have a large number of dire beasts in them, so this operation will be tough, and I hope all of you mentally prepare yourself in advance." Su Yuanhui's face was solemn. "Earlier on, we had used drones to recon, and there are 36 main packs of dire beasts along the safe passage. We in Hanzhong Base City are in charge of 18 packs each, and the 18 packs we are responsible for are entrenched in Qinggu, Xiajinggu, Shanba River, Longquan Town, Jianling, Shishui River, and Mopen Bay. Among them, the two dire beasts packs entrenched in Meizi Town and Haihuya Mountain is the strongest, with all of them being Class 5 dire beasts, while the rest are Class 3 and Class 4 dire beasts. Our preliminary plan is to fan out and eliminate the 16 Class 3 and Class 4 dire beasts packs, then regroup before taking out the last two Class 5 dire beast packs." Having said that, Su Yuanhui looked at everyone and asked, "Do you have any differing opinions on my arrangement?" Everyone shook their heads. Su Yuanhui nodded slightly. "In that case, I'll be assigning the missions. First is, Pangu Arcana Combine." Su Yuanhui looked at Ling Jiu and the rest. "Your mission is to eliminate the Class 3 beasts entrenched in Shishui River. Any objections?" The members of the Wind Chaser and T.Rex squads all looked at Ling Jiu one after another. He was the captain of this operation, so everything would be decided by him. Class 3 dire beasts are too weak. Ling Jiu faintly said, "Isn't there a Class 4 dire beast in Longquan Town? Let us handle Longquan Town as well. The Class 4 dire beasts, can you deal with them?" Just as Ling Jiu's voice fell, a black-faced strong man with a beard spat coldly. "Boy, killing dire beasts is not the same as playing house. If not done right, someone might die." Chapter 55. Rampaging Sweep. Great Ma Ants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The competition between different arcana organizations was quite fierce. After all, everyone had the same job, the same business interests, so competition was inevitable. In particular, Pangu ranked number 1 in the world, and Vulcan ranked second. The competition between the two was extremely fierce, like water and fire. Just as Ling Jiu, Pangu's captain, finished speaking, Vulcan's captain Yang Gan straightaway threw barbs at him. Ling Jiu glanced at him. "Don't worry, if there's someone that will be killed by a dire beast, that person would be you. You may be young, but you sure talk big." The brawny bearded man, Yang Gan, sneered. "I really don't understand how Pangu would let a twerp like you become a captain. Are they not afraid of dragging 2 elite teams down, and let them die for nothing? Heh, it's not your fault for being ugly, but coming out to scary everyone with your looks, then that's your fault." Ling Jiu spat back. "I didn't do anything to you, why are you picking a fight with me? Boy, do you want to die?" Yang Gan was furious. He absolutely hated someone else calling him ugly. Because of his ugliness, when the calamity broke out, he was abandoned by his parents, and if he had not awakened his arcana in his despair, he would have been dead already. Therefore, his appearance had been the biggest pain point in his life. Now that Ling Jiu exposed that in front of everyone else, how could his petty temper tolerate that? All right, quiet, both of you." Su Yuanhui came out to smoothen things out. He looked at the bearded strong man and said, "Captain Yang, Captain Ling may be young, but he is already a level 4 arcanist, and having dual arcana to boot. In terms of strength, he is no weaker than you." Level 4 arcanist. Yang Gan's expression changed drastically, and the expressions of the other arcanists who wanted to watch the drama unfold too changed as a trace of awe appeared in the eyes as they looked at Ling Jiu. The vast majority of people present were level 3 arcanists, and many smaller companies even send out only level 2 arcanists. But Ling Jiu was a level 4 arcanist. A person of superior rank would crush anyone beneath him. When an arcanist is a level higher, the difference in strength was completely incomparable. A level 4 arcanist. That was enough to make them look up to him. Let alone having dual arcana. Baiting for drama with these sorts of people. They better think things through. Since Commander Su said so, I'll give you face. Yang Gan calmed down a little, but his face still looked bitter as he said coldly. Boy, are you interested in a competition? What competition? Ling Jiu raised his eyebrows. Who can hunt more dire beasts? Yang Gan snorted coldly. If you can kill more dire beasts than me, I will apologize to you for the rudeness before. Otherwise, you would have to apologize to me instead. I'll wait for your apology. Ling Jiu smiled faintly. Let's see what happens next. Yang Gan snorted and looked at Su Yuanhui. Commander Su, the other 4th Order Dire Beasts pack is Huishan's. No problem. Su Yuanhui smiled in his heart, this was the healthy competition he wanted to see. Everyone working hard together to clean up the dire beasts as soon as possible. The airship traveled along the safe passage, and every time they arrived at a spot where the dire beasts were entrenched, they would drop a group of arcanists. An hour later, they finally arrived at Longquan Town. Captain Ling, we have arrived at Longquan Town. Su Yuanhui said, your mission is to clean up all of the dire beasts within 100 miles of Longquan Town. Once you are done, we will come to pick you up. No problem. Longquan Town was surrounded by mountains on all sides, and the mountains were covered with towering trees and lush plants. Together with the dilapidated buildings and streets, it felt like a long-lost ancient city. Brother Chen, where is the 4th Order Dire Beast Pack located? Ling Jiu looked at Chen Feng. We are at the southeast corner of Longquan Town, and the 4th Order Dire Beast Pack happens to be on the northwest corner, more than 30 miles away. Chen Feng replied. Let's go, and slaughter our way through. Ling Jiu ordered. Yes, Captain Ling. Woof. Not long into their walk, two giant dogs suddenly appeared in the jungle ahead. They were 4 meters tall and were more than 7 meters long, with fangs exposed from the side, and a menacing look in their eyes. "Watch out, it's a Class 3 Hillborer Mastiff," Huang Hailong called out, and the members of both squads immediately went on alert, as they took out their weapons and surrounded it cautiously. They cannot afford to be careless when against a third-order dire beast. Yet, before they even got close, two giant hands suddenly slammed down from the sky. With a loud crack, the screams ended abruptly, and the two Hillborer Mastiffs were smashed into a paste by the giant hands. "Advance!" Ling Jiu put away the corpses and continued to press on. Chen Feng and the others looked at each other with shocked expressions. They were all level 3 wild hunter squads, and they usually hunted third-order dire beasts, so, against any third-order dire beast, they would deal with it with utmost caution. It was nothing like what was happening now. He killed 2 third-order dire beasts with a single slap. It was way too easy. Just because he is a level higher, he can do whatever he wants. Seems like it. Stop lollygagging and hurry up. In the next moment, the two squads finally realized what it meant to do whatever one wanted. Ling Jiu stood at the vanguard as he opened the way, be it second or third order dire beasts, he would just slap them to death in a single blow. In a rampaging sweep, it only took an hour for them to slay everything between the southeast corner of Longquan until the northwest corner where the fourth-order dire beast pack was, during which more than 300 third-order dire beasts were slain. 300 third-order dire beasts. I'm not dreaming, am I? Normally when we go into the wilderness for a few months, we may not be able to kill so many third-order dire beasts, and yet we did it today in only an hour's time. And, it had never been easier. Yeah, there is no need for fear nor caution. We simply just sweep and push on. Is this the power of a level 4 Arcanist? I've been a wild hunter for almost 10 years now, and I've never been so relaxed as today. Yeah. All of the squad members were amazed, and they looked at Ling Jiu in awe. This was Ling Jiu, killing third-order dire beasts like he was slaughtering cannon fodders. For him to do whatever he wanted in a dangerous wilderness like Longquan town, it was just too awesome. "Everyone, on your guard." Ling Jiu spoke. The dire beast pack not too far away seems to be a pack of ant-type dire beasts, and by the looks of it, they are the Great Maw Ants. What? Great Maw Ants? The squad members were taken aback at first, then they were shocked as their expressions changed. "Captain Ling, the fourth-order dire beasts pack is actually the Great Maw Ants. It shouldn't be wrong." Ling Jiu nodded slightly. "There are about 3,000 of them, and among them, about 7 to 8 are fourth-order Great Maw Ants, while the rest are third-order. Great Maw Ants it's the end of the road now, let's withdraw." "They are Great Maw Ants, how can we kill them?" "Captain Ling, how about we withdraw?" The team members' faces were ashen, and they were unable to hide the fear in their eyes. Among the dire beasts, the ant-types were the most difficult to deal with. Generally, ant-type dire beasts had the following 3 characteristics. First, a terrifying number of them. Second, unbridled strength. Third, invincible defenses. The Great Maw Ants, as the leader of the ant-type fourth-order dire beasts, the most frightening thing about them was not their numbers, strength, or defense, but their speed. The Great Maw Ants was the fourth-order dire beast with the fastest attack speed. They were fast as lightning, and the speed of their bite was unparalleled. They can close their maw and bite their prey in 0.13 milliseconds, 2,300 times faster than the speed of a human's blink, which was ridiculously fast. In the face of a pack of dire beasts with great strength, numbers, and defense, they would normally circle around them when they ran into a pack like this. For them to hunt them, you had to be joking. Chapter 56. This is money. Grubbing, killing all in one fell swoop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why? Are you guys afraid? Ling Jiu glanced at his team members. Captain Ling, this is not fear, but we don't want to die for nothing. Huang Hailong smiled bitterly. These are great maw ants, we have no chance of winning against them. Yeah, Captain Ling, the 3003rd Order Great Maw Ants aside, just the 7 to 8 4th Order Great Maw Ants alone are not something we can deal with. Chen Feng also chimed in. Captain Ling, how about we withdraw first, and wait until we find a safe method to deal with them? This is just too risky. Although the other team members did not speak, their faces were full of reluctance. It was not that they were afraid of death, but the power gap between them and the Great Maw Ants was too great. They did not want to die for nothing. A third Order Great Maw Ant can be sold for about 1 million. Ling Jiu faintly said, there are 3,000 of them here, which is worth about 3 billion. You guys sure you don't want this 3 billion? 3 billion. The team members all swallowed their saliva, as a gleam of green light appeared in their eyes. But the moment they recalled the terrifying power of the Great Maw Ants, they still shook their heads. Captain Ling, forget it. While 3 billion is tempting, what's the point if you lose your life? Yeah, Captain Ling. Fine. Since you guys don't want it, I'll take this 3 billion for myself. Ling Jiu waved his hand. You guys retreat to somewhere safe first. Ling Jiu, you are going to. Chen Feng's expression changed, and Ling Jiu had already rushed out. Captain Ling. Chen Feng yelled, but Ling Jiu was too fast, and in a blink of an eye he appeared in front of the Great Maw Ant's nest and rushed into the Great Maw Ant's encirclement. Captain Chen, what should we do? You ask me, who the hell should I ask then? Captain Ling is just too reckless. There are 3,000 Great Maw Ants there, him charging over just like that, what's the difference then throwing himself onto his death? The team members almost freaked out. They were reluctant to advance as they did not want to die for nothing, but to watch on as Ling Jiu get killed surrounded by the Great Maw Ants. They simply could not do that. Advance. They dared not. Run. They were too embarrassed to do so. For a moment, the team members fell into a painful dilemma. While they struggled, Ling Jiu wasn't. At this moment, he seemed to be like a tiger that had broken into a sheep corral and was slaughtering the Great Maw Ants with gleeful abandon. The Great Maw Ants were not that big, about the size of an ordinary yak. Their bodies were grayish-brown in color and were covered in barbed armor, even their legs had barbed line throughout. Their giant pincer-like teeth that looked out of proportion stood out. The Great Maw Ants were named after that. The massive tooth was the killer tool of the Great Maw Ants, and the closing speed of the maw was terrifying, 2,300 times faster than the blink of a human's eye. That is to say, once bitten by the Great Maw Ant, that pair of pincers can cut your body 2,300 times in an instant. 2,300 times. How does this even begin to compare? So, one could not allow them to get close, much less getting bitten by them. Otherwise, even level 4 Arcanist would simply just perish. Fortunately, Ling Jiu did not fear these sort of speed-type dire beasts, as the 8G gravity descended and covered a radius of 100 meters. Even if the Great Maw Ants were powerful, but under the pressure of 8 times the gravity, their movement speed was severely hampered. Sand Spear Rain. The osmium soil floated in the air and quietly formed into long spears, and then fell from the sky like pouring rain. As the whistling rip of the air rang out, countless spears rained upon that radius of 100 meters. Enhanced by the 8G gravity, the spears became extremely heavy, and the speed of their fall accelerated, and naturally, the lethality was even more terrifying. Dush dush dush. The sound of torn flesh and broken limbs rang out. As a volley of spear rain fell, the Great Maw Ants within 100-meter radius were all turned into pin-cushions and were dead. Very good. Ling Jiao waved his hand, and the great ma ant corpses all disappeared one by one, and a moment later, that 100-meter radius turned into an empty spot, with only blood splatters wordlessly painting the horrific scene earlier. The team members stared at the scene with stunned silence. All of them gawked so much that one could fit an egg into their mouths. 100 great ma ants died just like that. Oh my God! How strong is Captain Ling? No wonder he dared to single-handedly take on the great ma ant swarm. He was actually that strong. Hiss. 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 Just as the team members were in shock, great ma ants swarmed out from the other side of the nest like a disturbed hornet's nest. In a blink of an eye, the nest was once again full of great ma ants numbering in the hundreds. And the massive great ma ant was particularly eye-catching. It was 2 to 3 times the size of the other great ma ants, with a pair of cicada-like wings on its back, standing out like a king before the rabble. Another swarm of hundreds of great ma ants, and among them is a fourth, Order 1, I wonder how Captain Ling will respond this time. The team members pondered in silence. How would he deal with them? Ling Jiao pointed to the void. Sand spear rain. Vush, vush. Another volley of stone spears fell. Dush dush dush. A moment later, 100-odd great ma ants perished once again, and only the fourth order great ma ant was unharmed. The thorned carapace on its body was extremely sturdy, and the power of the stone spears was not enough to penetrate its carapace and kill it. Hiss. The fourth order great ma ant seemed to be angered as it let out a cry into the sky and vibrated its wings as it charged at Ling Jiao in an instant. The huge maw gleamed under the sunlight, making sure that no one doubted its sharpness. The moment the maw closes, with its astonishing biting speed of 2,300 times in an instant, was definitely enough to rip anything it catches into pieces. Good timing. Ling Jiao let out a laugh, as the osmium soil around him gathered, and suddenly, he transformed into a gleaming silver giant 10 meters tall. This is... Seeing Ling Jiao's sudden transformation, all of the team members opened their eyes wide, as Bai Yu exclaimed. This is the top-level Earth-element secret arcana technique, the Rock Giant. A top-level secret arcana technique. Captain Ling is really loaded. A top-level secret technique is worth $1 billion. We won't be able to afford one even if we were to struggle for a dozen years. I did not expect him to buy that within a year of awakening his arcana. 8 times the force of gravity. In the face of the charging fourth order great ma ant, Ling Jiao did not retreat but went on the offensive. The moment the fourth order great ma ant approached with its maw open wide, the 8G gravity came crashing down. Bam! The great ma ant was slammed into the ground, and before it could regain its balance, the iron fists of the rock giant came crashing, and a loud crack thundered as the great ma ant's brain exploded. The great ma ant twitched twice before falling silent. 10 million. In the pocket. Ling Jiao dispersed the osmium soil and looked at the dead fourth order great ma ant as a smile appeared on his face. The great ma ants were a leader among the dire beasts of the same order, and they were worth much more than an average dire beast. A third order great ma ant was worth $1 million. A fourth order great ma ant was worth 10 million. In other words, in just a short time, he had already earned 210 million as if he was just picking up spare change. Too strong. Captain Ling is just too tough. This is literally robbery. The team members were all speechless, but what shocked them even more was after killing these swarm of great ma ants, Ling Jiao did not wait for more to appear but went inside the nest of the great ma ants. F***ck me. What is Captain Ling trying to do? Is he thinking that killing like this is just too slow, so he wants to rush into their nest, and destroy the entire nest in one fell swoop? One fell swoop. F***ck me. Is he even human? Chapter 57. Dealing with the root, overwhelming desire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And they guessed it right. Ling Jiao was indeed planning to do just that. Rather than wait for the great maw ants to come out one by one, he might as well charge in and kill them all in one fell swoop. Simple and easy. Moreover, while it may look risky, but it was actually very advantageous for Ling Jiao. The great maw ants' numbers were astonishing, and if he was surrounded by 1,000 great maw ants, even he would need to die. Charging into the nest was a whole different ball game. The space inside the nest is limited, and the great maw ants cannot attack at the same time, so Ling Jiao would only need to face a couple at a single time, greatly reducing the pressure on him. Things were as Ling Jiao expected. After entering the nest, the great maw ants rushed over in a long line. It was a literal line as they came one by one to their deaths. They were moving quickly and had charged forward in a blink of an eye. Yet there was only one facing Ling Jiao, and with a wave of his hand, a long spear shot out. Dush! The great maw ant at the forefront had its head immediately impaled by the stone spear, and died on the spot. Ling Jiao put its body away, and the second great maw ant charged forward. With another raise of his hand, another great maw ant was impaled by the spear. The slaughter had begun. Ling Jiao ran rampant inside the nest as he stood alone against the horde, and like a meat grinder, he butchered the great maw ants rushing over with tireless abandon. The butchering lasted little over an hour, and when Ling Jiao arrived at the deepest part of the nest, all 3,000 great maw ants had perished. The deepest part of the nest was the nexus of it. It was massive, much like an underground palace. Yet, surprisingly, the place was bright, filled with milky white light. That's. Ling Jiao's eyes were attracted by the numerous light pearls at the center of the palace. Each light pearls had the size of a watermelon, and was thoroughly milky white, like it was the best white jade as they exuded a milky white light. Ling Jiao knew that this was not any light pearls but instead great maw ant eggs. The ferocious great maw ants were all hatched from here. The eggs of the great maw ants are rich in lots of nutrients. In terms of price alone, a great maw ant egg is no lesser than one of their corpses. So many great maw ant eggs, if I take them out and sell them off, I'll make another big buck. Ling Jiao waved his hand and put away all of the great maw ant egg into the bag. Creak. At this moment, a sharp sound that sounded like a ripped apart gong rang out and sent goosebumps all over Ling Jiao as his ears buzzed. The hell? Ling Jiao turned around and saw in a corner not too far away lay a mountain of flesh. Yeah, let us call it that because it was just too enormous. It was 20 meters long, and 15 meters thick. Its body was thoroughly milky white as it lay there like a mess of rotting flesh and crept along extremely slowly. On the other end of it, was a tiny body of an ant. That's the queen. Ling Jiao said to himself. The queen's abdomen was just too big, like a white mountain of flesh. And its upper body was about the size of an ordinary great maw egg, but its lower body and abdomen was completely out of proportion, looking particularly distorted. At this moment, the ant queen looked at Ling Jiao furiously, as flames of fury and hatred burned in its crimson eyes. The ant queen was extremely intelligent and was actually the brains of the entire colony. She knew that Ling Jiao had killed all of its children, and now was taking away her eggs, that made her wanted to rip Ling Jiao into shreds. You dare to stare at me? Ling Jiao had no time for nonsense with the ant queen, as he ran a stone spear through the queen's head. Looking at the ant nest again, the one had needed to be killed the most was the ant queen. Only with the queen's death would a colony die out. Otherwise, she would simply breed new swarms of ants. Captain Ling went in for a while now. Why hasn't he come out yet? Did something happen? Alas! He's still too young. Those are great maw ants, him rushing in like that means he probably ran into some mishaps. Captain Ling's coming out. The team members hurriedly turned and looked and saw Ling Jiao casually walking out of the nest. His body did not have a speck of dust, nor any signs of sweat, and his clothes were intact. Mishaps? No such thing. Captain Ling, are you all right? Do I look like I'm not? Ling Jiu shrugged. Team Ling, what about the big tooth ant colony? You won't really be taken care of by you alone, right? If not, then. Ling Jiu raised his eyebrow. Hiss. All of them gasped hard as they looked at Ling Jiu like they were looking at a monster. 3,000 Great Maw Ant, with 7 to 8 Class 4 ones, were all gone just like that. Captain Ling, you are really. Chen Feng smiled wryly. Pardon my lack of education, that I cannot describe what I'm feeling now. I can only use the word awesome to describe you. 3,000 Great Maw Ants. Killed by you alone. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. How is a single awesome even enough? Listening to the flurry of awesomes, Ling Jiu could not help but to roll his eyes. You guys only know how to use awesome to express your emotions. Hey. It's not like we have a choice, we are not well educated, so Captain Ling please don't mind that. Yeah, we're caught up with the dire beast catastrophe not long after we were born, and did not have the chance to attend primary school. How will we know any other big words? Yeah. All right. Ling Jiu shook his head. These guys were all in their 30s, and the dire beast catastrophe had only happened 30 years ago, so their generation really did not receive much education. Let's go, we'll continue to clean up the dire beasts around Longquan town. Ling Jiu said softly. Yes, Captain Ling. Next, the entire team went on a frenzied clean-up sweep. Ling Jiu had single-handedly done in all of the powerful Class 3 and Class 4 dire beasts, and the rest were just scrubs that did not even needed Ling Jiu to take any action as the team members could easily deal with all of them. At this moment, Ling Jiu saw all of everyone's arcanas. Earth manipulation, thunder manipulation, metal manipulation, Tyranno form, tungsten form. Ling Jiu's focus was naturally on the tungsten form arcana. Watching Meng Lijun morphing into that form, and bashing the Class 2 dire beasts to death with his own eyes, Ling Jiu felt extremely greedy. Supreme Defense. A 30 times boost in strength. It was a proper steel-skin Hulk. If I calculate it correctly, I only need to wait until tomorrow before I can replicate a new arcana, then I can immediately copy Meng Lijun's tungsten form arcana. With my level 4 arcanist strength, I should be able to unleash 100 times the strength than normal. 100 times the power. Ling Jiu licked his lips as a flash of excitement gleamed in his eyes. The power of the tungsten form was insane due to the fact that its defense and strength would continue to grow as one leveled up. When Meng Lijun was a level 1 arcanist, he was able to use 3 times the strength, when he was a level 2 arcanist, it was 10 times. Now that he was level 3, he was able to unleash 30 times the strength, and when he reaches level 4, it will be 100 times the strength. In theory, as long as Meng Lijun becomes a level 9 arcanist, he could exert 10,000 times the normal power. This was even more freakish than Emperor Might's Pangu God Ant form. After all, Emperor Might's Pangu God Ant form only had the 10,000 times strength but not the corresponding super defense. Tomorrow, this arcana will be mine. Chapter 58. One Fist One Kill, Emergency Backup Request. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Midnight, Longquan Town. There was a dilapidated villa in the mountains that was overgrown with trees and weeds. Its walls were covered with creeper plants and were quiet. Inside a room in the villa, Ling Jiu sat cross-legged as he activated the Sea of 100 Rivers, absorbing the Gene Arcana without a kilometer's radius. The other team members were all asleep in the next room. It was not because they did not want to practice, but being in the same room with Ling Jiu, they could not absorb any Gene Arcana at all. Ling Jiu's absorption ability was just too strong, and all of the Gene Arcana within 1,000 meters were all swept away by him in an instant. So there was no other way but to sleep instead of training. The Arcana replication ability is finally restored. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Ling Jiao suddenly opened his eyes as a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. He then quietly went to the next room and found Meng Lijun. Name: Meng Lijun. Race: Human. Arcana: Tungsten. Form: Awakened, Replicable, Replicate. Ling Jiao ordered. After the fusion was successful, Ling Jiao did not rush to complete it, but instead quietly left the villa, and came to a remote forest in the distance before starting the process. Bomb! The familiar pain swept through his body. Even if he had experienced this a few times before, Ling Jiao still suffered from the pain. For some reason, the pain was far worse than before. Be it the fusion of the Earth Manipulation Arcana, Shadowform Arcana, Blink Arcana, or the Gravity Arcana, neither of them had given him pain this violent. If the pain from the previous few fusions were concentrated on his head, then this time, it was all over his body, as every nook and cranny of his being writhed in pain. What Ling Jiao could not see was a mysterious silver substance was sweeping across his body, transforming his body in a frenzy. Be it his bones, meridians, skin, blood, cells, or even his DNA. All of them were being transformed by the silver substance. An overwhelming pain came from every cell in his body as his nerves felt like they were being torn by a raging river. Ling Jiao felt that his entire body was about to break apart as he convulsed violently. Fortunately, the pain left as quickly as it violently came. 10 minutes later, the pain disappeared like the ebbing tide as Ling Jiao lay on the grass and panted violently. His clothes were soaked with cold sweat, and his body was stained with dirt from his struggling, but Ling Jiao's mind was not on all these. Tungsten form. A thought appeared in Ling Jiao's mind. In an instant, mysterious energy erupted from his body as his whole body seemed to transform into iron, and quickly took a dark silver sheen. At the same time, Ling Jiao's body quickly inflated like a balloon, and in a blink of an eye, his entire body had become a man of steel that was 2 meters tall. At this moment, Ling Jiao felt his body was clearly different now. He could not feel any breathing. He could not feel any heartbeat. He could not even feel any temperature. His skeleton, muscles, veins, organs, his whole body had completely transformed into tungsten. This power. Ling Jiao clenched his fists, and felt the strength in his body was many, many times stronger than before as a powerful strength surged within his body. Ling Jiao could not bear it any longer and suddenly leaped up as he squeezed his right fist tight and punched a willow tree the size of a water barrel next to him. Crack! The terrifying power immediately erupted, causing a brief sonic boom before him, and following that, a crack as the iron fist instantly perforated the trunk of the big willow tree and then shot out from its back. Surprisingly, the big willow tree did not shake much at all. What terrifying power! Ling Jiao's eyes beamed with excitement. As expected of the tungsten form. My strength now is very likely 100 times stronger than before. Without any devices to measure his strength, Ling Jiao could not test it out, but that punch through the willow tree trunk earlier had completely shown that his strength had increased by many folds. As to whether it had increased by 100 times, he needed to test it out slowly. Roar! At this moment, a low roar suddenly came from behind him, and just as he turned his head, a giant tiger with a height of 5 meters, and a body length of 8 meters, covered in iron armor and scales appeared from the grass. The tiger's jaw was wide open with drool flowing out of its mouth as it stared at Ling Jiao with cold, menacing eyes that were full of greed and hunger. It's hungry. And it needed something to eat badly. A Class 4 dire beast, the ironclad striped tiger. Looking at the giant tiger that had taken him for food, the corner of Ling Jiao's mouth raised slightly. You came at the right time, let me try my new gain arcana on you then. After today's sweep, the dire beasts in Longquan town were almost totally eliminated, but the 50-mile area around Longquan town was too big to be completed in one day. There were many powerful dire beasts living in these places, and the ironclad striped tiger was one of them. Ling Jiu had planned to deal with them tomorrow, but he did not expect to encounter one of them tonight. Roar! The ironclad striped tiger was famished, and once reaching its attack range, it attacked with any hesitation, as it charged with a powerful force towards Ling Jiu. Good timing. Ling Jiu laughed and shot out a punch. The iron fist was like a cannonball that accurately struck the ironclad striped tiger's forehead. With a loud crack, the iron fist punched directly into the tiger's forehead. The ironclad striped tiger was stunned as its massive body froze in midair. Its round eyes were bloodshot, full of consternation and disbelief. It could have never expected that Ling Jiu's fist would be so powerful, so devastating, so domineering that it penetrated its frontal bone. The frontal bone. The hardest bone in its body. Pa, you dare to show off with that child's play. Ling Jiu was very satisfied with his strength. To be honest, he did not even use his full strength with the punch just now, and he did not even break the skin of his fist. As expected of the tungsten form, not only it has terrifying power, its defensive power is superb. I love this arcana. Although he possessed the earth manipulation arcana, Ling Jiu still likes to fight things head-on. He had the blood of warriors and tanks flowing in him. Mages. Those are for sissies. Unfortunately, this arcana, like the others, I cannot expose it to anyone else. But it could be used in conjunction with my rock giant skill. Afterward, Ling Jiu returned to the camping villa and continued to train. However, it wasn't long before he was awakened by a screeching telephone ring. What's the situation? Everyone was awakened. Take the call. Ling Jiu pressed the answer button. Is this Captain Ling Jiu? Su Yuanhui's anxious voice came from the other side of the phone. It's me. Thank goodness. Su Yuanhui said anxiously. Captain Ling, please reinforce Mopen Bay immediately. A large number of Class 4 and Class 5 dire beasts had suddenly appeared there. The situation is very critical. Mopen Bay. A large number of Class 4 and Class 5 dire beasts. Ling Jiu nodded slightly. No problem, we'll head there right away. Thank you, Captain Ling. Chapter 59. Mysterious Egg, Titan Tempest Ape. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Over in Mopen Bay, an abandoned riverside villa stood alone by the river. Before it was the rushing waters of the Wei River, and behind it a lush forest. A series of bestial roars rang out from the mountains and the forests as the grass and trees shook, and a large number of dire beasts poured out of it and surrounded the villa by the river. Inside the villa. Damn it, they're here again. The members of Vulcan Arcana Combined looked at the dire beasts outside through the window, each with a grim face as they felt anxious and fatigue amidst their fury. They could no longer remember what wave of dire beast attack this was. Although they were able to repel every dire beast onslaught thus far, after a long period of combat, their physical strength and gene arcana had been extremely exhausted, and they were almost at breaking point. Seeing the dire beasts charged in once again, all of the team members looked at Captain Yang Gan. Captain Yang, what should we do? Should we return that thing back? Yang Gan's expression kept changing as he went from hesitating to struggling to finally having a look of determination. Continue to resist. If all fails, then we'll hand it over. Yes, Captain. All of the members responded. They too were conflicted. Before them were dire beasts that might kill them, and they wanted to surrender that item in exchange for their lives. However, they were also reluctant to let it go. It was a treasure worth tens of billions after all. Tens of billions. Who would willingly hand it over? Rayor. Following a violent roar, a swarm of dire beasts rushed out from the forest and charged at the riverside house. The dire beasts had attacked once again. Die. Kill these be*****stards. Go to hell. A fierce battle broke out. The dire beasts kept charging forward, seemingly unafraid of death as if they wanted to swallow the riverside house whole. The Huishan team resisted desperately and were throwing out various arcanas like they were free. Roar! Crack! Dush! The dire beasts were killed one after another, and the pungent smell of blood filled the air. Although the dire beasts were numerous, they were mostly Class 1 to Class 4 dire beasts, and the Vulcan team could hold them back, albeit barely. Yet, when a dire beast joined the fray, the entire situation drastically changed. Boom! Boom! A giant ape as tall as a 3-story building emerged from the forest. The hair all over its body consisted of steel needles standing upright with bulging muscles looking like they were cast out of metal, and left no illusions about the terrifying destructive power within it. Looking at the suddenly appearing giant ape-like dire beast, the faces of the Vulcan team members changed wildly, and all of them fell into despair. A Class 5 dire beast, Titan Tempest Ape. A Titan Tempest Ape. It's the Titan Tempest Ape. It's over. It's all over now. Captain. Hand that thing over quickly, or we'll all be dead. Captain, throw that thing out. Yangon was horrified, and his voice was trembling. Isn't it a little too late to throw it out now? I'm afraid it won't let us off even after it takes that thing away. How will we know if we don't even try? Captain, don't hesitate anymore. If that Titan Tempest Ape charges over, we'll definitely be dead. Toss that damn thing out. All right, all right. Although he was extremely reluctant to let it go, his life was now at stake, and whether he was reluctant or not, the Titan Tempest Ape was not something they could fight against. Yangon took out a backpack from the dimensional pockets, and then took out an iron lump the size of a watermelon. It was covered with strange patterns, and exuding a powerful vitality from within. Oh! What a pity! Looking at this iron lump, Yangon sighed as he resisted the pain and forcefully threw it away. The iron lump flew a beautiful parabolic arc and flew far, far away, before finally landing not too far away from the Titan Tempest Ape. The amazing this was that, after flying so far and hitting the ground so hard, the iron lump did not break, but landed perfectly intact. It had to be said that iron lump sure was hard, just like a real iron lump. Rare. The Titan Tempest Ape was still beating its chest and venting its anger, but when it saw that the iron lump suddenly fell from the sky, it stopped. It picked up the iron lump from the ground and sniffed it hard. A flash of joy appeared in its eyes that were bigger than apples as it looked at the riverside villa. At this moment, Yangon and the others inside the villa were looking at the Titan Tempest Ape with anxiety and panic in their eyes. Leave. Hurry up and leave. We've already given your things back. Stop pestering us. The Vulcan team prayed and shouted frantically. They were very fearful, against an extremely violent and ferocious Class 5 dire beast like the Titan Tempest Ape, they stood no chance at all. Sadly, their prayers fell on deaf ears, and instead of leaving, the Titan Tempest Ape rushed toward them. Ba-am! Ba-am! The ground trembling rhythmically as if a heavy tank was rolling over it. It's coming. Damn it. It already had wanted, and it still doesn't want to let us go. Damn it all. Yangon was trembling, and his face turned blue. Retreat. Retreat to the basement. Yes, Captain. The Vulcan team members dared not tarry as they all fled toward the basement one after another. The Titan Tempest Ape obviously did not intend to let them go, and waiting there meant certain death. Only by escaping to the basement that they may have a chance to escape. Bam! The Titan Tempest Ape was clearly in a foul mood. It strode over to the riverside villa and raised its massive fist as it pounded the villa's wall. Bomb! A terrifying force exploded, and the riverside villa that had been standing upright for more than 30 years was smashed into pieces. Stones splintered and cement shattered. A couple of punches later, the riverside villa was completely razed to the ground with only twisted metal and broken cement blocks remained to tell the tale of what happened earlier. Rare. The Titan Tempest ape who was done venting beat its own chest as it let out a hearty roar. The rolling sound waves traveled far and wide. After that, the Titan Tempest ape took a big step and was about to leave. Unexpectedly, at the same moment, a stream of light flashed across the sky, and finally stopped over the skies above the riverside villa. Roar! The Titan Tempest ape roared and saw a maglev motorcycle stopping not too far away. On it was a human. There was still a human. The Titan Tempest ape grew furious as it turned and rushed toward the maglev motorcycle with murderous intentions. A Class 5, Titan Tempest ape. Ling Jiu's expression changed and immediately put away the maglev motorcycle before releasing all 50 square meters of osmium soil as he used the rock giant technique. In a blink of an eye, Ling Jiu had become a 30-meter tall behemoth. 30 meters. About 10 stories high. In contrast, the 10-meter tall Titan Tempest ape looked like a little brother, but the ape was not intimidated as it raised its right fist and smashed hard. Bomb! A violent power exploded, and the osmium giant was smashed and staggered before falling onto the ground as a large quantity of osmium soil fell off it. Hiss! Feeling the terrifying shock on his body, Ling Jiu could not help but gasp. This sure lived up to its name as a Class 5 dire beast, the Titan Tempest ape. Even though his body was covered in osmium soil, but the power of the Titan Tempest ape was far too great, and the shock of its attack had Ling Jiu's boil blood. Tungsten form. Chapter 60. Every fist connected. This is gravity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the face of a violent and ferocious strength-type dire beast such as the Titan Tempest ape, Ling Jiu did not hesitate to use the new arcana he had just obtained, tungsten form. Encased inside the osmium soil, Ling Jiu suddenly became a 2-meter tall tungsten giant. His entire body's defense and strength had changed dramatically. At that moment, the Titan Tempest ape's second punch had already thundered over. Good timing. Ling Jiu's right fist met the attack. Bomb! The two fists met, a massive thunderclap blasted out, and a devastating power was unleashed as a shocking scene took place. The most ferocious Class 5 dire beast, the Titan Tempest ape, that was known for its strength, was sent flying backwards uncontrollably. Its 10-meter tall body flew out like a cannonball for 7 to 8 meters, before crashing onto the ground, and causing the earth to shake and tremble. All the while, the rock giant's massive body stood on the ground as solid as the mountains, unmoving. It did not move even an inch during the exchange. In just an exchange, superiority was already determined. Ha! Come on! Ling Jiu got so excited that he strode and charged toward the Titan Tempest ape. Roar! The Titan Tempest ape was furious, and let out a wrathful roar. Immediately after, its body started to inflate like a balloon. And was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. 15 meters, 20 meters, 20.5 meters. In a few breaths' time, the Titan Tempest ape grew from 10 meters tall to 30 meters, transforming into a behemoth no lesser than the rock giant. It became even bigger. Is this the gigantization-type arcana? Ling Jiu's eyes shrank, as he grew more cautious. The gigantization, like the tungsten form and tyranno form arcanas, were all part of the body morphing arcanas. Once used, the user's body will grow rapidly, and eventually transforming into a behemoth far greater than the user's original size. And as the user grows larger, their strength and defense will also soar as well. However, the gigantization-type arcana usually only appear in human arcanists, and most arcanists can only grow about 5 to 6 meters tall, nothing like the Titan Tempest ape's 30-meter height. This was quite terrifying to say the least. Gigantization is a good arcana, but I can't replicate it now. Ling Jiu felt a little pity. On the other side of the ruins, a few pieces of rubble flew away as several heads popped out. They were the Vulcan team members. Right then, the members of the Vulcan team were looking at the two behemoths stand on the grassland, their eyes bewildered. Who are they? One of them should be a gigantized Titan Tempest ape, the other one I have no idea. Seems like a rock giant. If I'm right, it should be an Arcanist that had used a top-level Earth-type technique, the rock giant. An Arcanist. F***ck me. That person dares to go head-on with the Titan Tempest ape, damn. Boom. Boom. After gigantizing, the Titan Tempest ape pounded its chest as it let out a thunderous roar. It then stomped on the ground as it charged at Ling Jiao once again. I'd like to see how much stronger you've gotten once you've gigantized. Ling Jiao's blood began to boil as he stomped the ground hard and used the powerful counter-force to shoot himself out. Crack. The two sides collided, and a crisp blast erupted in the void. A devastating shock wave centered on the two spread out on all sides. Everything within the blast radius were sent flying. The two behemoths pulled back at the same time, each retreating 7 or 8 meters back. Evenly matched. Yang Gan stared with wide eyes. Is this a level 5 Earth-type Arcanist? Yes. He must be at level 5. Indeed, only a level 5 Arcanist can fight head-on with a powerful class 5 dire beast like that ape. Anyone below level 5 will never be able to do it. A level 5 Arcanist. Great, we're saved. The Vulcan team members were secretly excited. They did not care who was their savior as long as that person could defeat the Titan Tempest ape, and kill it or drive it away. Rare. The Titan Tempest ape roared continuously. Instead of making it flinch, the strike only provoked its ferocity as it roared and charged again. Bomb. It was at this moment a terrible gravity suddenly came crushing down. The Titan Tempest ape stumbled and almost fell onto the ground. At this very moment, Ling Jiao controlled the rock giant as he slammed a fist down. Bomb. The Titan Tempest ape was smashed by the fist, but before it could even fight back, the terrifying gravity suddenly disappeared. Even the 1g gravity of the Earth that had originally acted upon it had also disappeared. Without the shackles of gravity, the Titan Tempest ape flew upwards uncontrollably. NL.co The Titan Tempest ape thrashed its limbs about, yet there was nothing it could get a hold on. Bomb. Ling Jiao did not let go of such an opening, and smashed another fist over. The Titan Tempest ape was struck dazed, its eyes blurred. Using 3 arcanas at the same time drains too much gene arcana. I need to end this battle quick. Ling Jiao sighed inwardly. The tungsten form mixed with rock giant allowed his strength to surge limitlessly, and even matched the Titan Tempest ape. He would have loved to fight the Titan Tempest ape on a head-on brawl, but unfortunately, fighting this way was just too draining on his mana. Ling Jiao knew that once the gene arcana in his body was completely exhausted, he would be a toothless tiger then, and the Titan Tempest ape would slaughter him. So, he needed to end the battle as soon as possible. Roar. The Titan Tempest ape roared as it tried to turn around to attack. At this moment, the 8g gravity came crushing down again, and the Titan Tempest ape's body was strong and could withstand the 8 times gravity. Just as Titan Tempest ape charged over, bearing the 8g gravity, it changed again, and the gravity was no longer pointing downwards but upwards instead. A gravitational force pointing toward the sky. The Titan Tempest ape fell uncontrollably toward the sky. Of course, in the eyes of the others, it was flying with its head facing upwards. Before it could even fly into the air, the gravity changed again, and then turned downwards. Bomb. The Titan Tempest ape fell from the sky, and slammed heavily onto the ground, smashing open a giant crater. This is gravity. It can be increased or decreased. It can be pointed upwards or downwards. Against a strength-type dire beast like you, gravity is definitely the best. In this ever-changing gravity, the Titan Tempest Ape can forget fighting as it could not even stand steadily, so the result of the battle was obvious. In the end, after Ling Jiu's flurry of frenzied blows, the Titan Tempest Ape died on the spot. He won. Captain Yang, he won. That's great. We're saved. The Vulcan team members were overjoyed, and even the captain, On Gon, could not help but to breathe a sigh of relief. The Titan Tempest Ape was dead, and they were now completely safe. However, before Yang Gon could even cheer up, he saw the rock giant walk toward the iron lump he had thrown out earlier. *T. He's going to take the giant egg. Yang Gon's expression changed drastically as he rushed out without even thinking. That giant egg was his, and no one could take it away from him. What is this?